evening, all you awesome people out there. My name is Scott Schertzen, alongside JT McGuire, Ryan O'Regan, and of course, Mr. Robert Leckington. And this is Tales from the Film Set. Welcome to Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 249 and 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app on the app stores of the iOS devices. When you download, rate, and leave a comment. Both apps are free, so you can't beat the price. TV, by the way, is also available on Chromecast, Amplifier, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Welcome to another show. We got a ton of stuff we're going to be covering in this case. Some Oscar talk, some Razzie talk, some Boba Fett talk, which may involve Boba Fett in his own show. And maybe if we got time, maybe we'll Peacemaker as well. But before I get into that, gentlemen, how you doing?
Doing great. No, I had an amazing weekend. I figured I'd share something a little later about that, but
please.
Oh no, do tell.
Yes.
Do tell now? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we gotta get you now before the mic goes off. So yes, tell.
Yeah, before I start babbling again, go.
Yeah, no. So this weekend I was in New Brunswick at Rutgers. Attended a production assistants boot camp put on by the New Jersey State Film Office, and so
I had seen something about that. Like,
yeah.
So,
no, we
how
spent. No, we spent
was it
16 hours. 16.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. You know, come to find out what a real production assistant does, I'd be like, I don't know if I really want to do that type of work, but you know, it was actually kind of fun because we got to learn about, you know, all sorts of things when it comes to, you know, what a PA is supposed to do and what they're not supposed to do, you know, radio etiquette, you know, paying attention to the call sheet because that's like their main thing. And
the Bible.
You know, if you don't know what's going on the call sheet, then, you know, an AD or even a second AD could be like, okay, hit the bricks, you know, because they don't want to work with somebody that doesn't know what's going on. And so it was run like a boot camp actually, because we had one lady that was, you know, it was a group that came from Los Angeles that I guess they go across the country. They've been out of the country, you know, teaching this course. It's a 2-day thing. Real great time, you know.
Was this a one-time thing, or is this going to be a regular thing that they host?
Oh no! In fact, just within the last couple of months, they've had it here in the New York area at least 2 or 3 times. So they'll be around. They'll be back around again. Mm-hmm. Just what you do is you go to the New Jersey Film Office website and then sign up for their email subscription thing, whatever you want to call it, and then they'll email that information out to people. So
what you're saying is, like most jobs during the pandemic era, people who were doing production assistant realized, I don't want to do this job anymore. And so you have these people that are essentially headhunters trying to recruit new PAs.
Not necessarily. I don't think so, because this program's been around for a few years, from what we were told. So, but no, I see where you're getting at.
Well, I mean, you said yourself, you went through it, and it's like, is this something I want to do? And really, PAs are it's a harder job than people think. It's not like just getting people coffee or anything like that.
Well,
it's pretty much making sure everything goes off without a hitch.
That's not true. Production assistants got to be available for anything and everything that comes their way. You got to lock it up when you know, the AD says lock up. You know, you got to make sure and control any sort of noise, that kind of thing. You have to be on toes at all times, basically.
Which you know, it is kind of a lot for a job that's just supposed to be like the peon role, or at least that's how it's kind of looked upon by most people on the film set. So why are you putting so much weight on one person? Because of the power trip, man.
You know, it's your job could be one of many, from what we were told. You know, I mean, you could be like a wardrobe assistant. You know, you could be like a makeup assistant. You could be an office assistant. You could be like on-set assistant. You know, there's many jobs when it comes to those big budget, you know, films and TV series episodes. You know,
yes, and they're clearly defined.
Right. So yeah,
A production assistant is essentially like a Johnny on the spot. You know, jack of all trades, got to wear different
yes.
hats. Basically, you're just there to assist not one department, but the production itself.
Well,
Which, yes,
but
can
like
be
I
like,
was saying,
Pete, come here. I need you to hold this red flag. Stand right here. Watch out for the line. Look.
like
Rob,
I
what
was
we-
saying though, there's
It's good to
more
see
than
JT's
one
doing this
production
with like
assistant,
no
though.
previous
So,
bias.
yeah, right.
Rob,
There's
we need
more
you to
than
basically
one.
do lockup at Times Square on Friday night at 1:00 in the morning. Don't let anybody onto the film set.
Right.
They may be drunk. There's going to be a million people running around. Don't let them through. Go.
Here's a gun and here's a bottle of whiskey to keep you up. Good luck.
Well, no, the bottle of whiskey to keep you up and the gun to shoot yourself when you give up. You know,
Unless you're on Rust.
man.
But this is definitely tough business. Talking about training, I was actually doing my daytime job today, and I got to watch someone being trained on how to be a technical director. Now, I don't know if anyone really knows what is involved in TV and technical directing, but it's basically one person sitting in front of a giant board filled with buttons and another person yelling at them to press them as fast as they can.
Yep.
And if they don't, they're fired.
Yep.
And I walked in just in time for the person training this individual to go, oh, if you press that button during a real show, you have been fired right on the spot. It's like, ooh,
Because
no
it screws-
pressure.
It screws up the live feed in that moment.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
because it
you-
does.
Yes, because when you went to the camera that's inexplicably pointing right into the ground at that moment, and instead of actually covering whatever's on TV or whatever basically game is being covered, possibly the Super Bowl, you instead got 5 seconds of someone's feet.
Granted, you don't hire someone who's fresh out of wherever they came from to do the Super Bowl, but apparently, certain companies too. It's like, oh, this is your first job. Good luck. We'll fire you if you make one mistake.
Exactly, you're expendable.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Congratulations. So basically, you getting a PA gig anytime soon?
No, I don't think so. I mean, we were all put on like a list. They wanted to know our availability. I work a full-time job now. I mean, before, a couple months ago, I didn't. So I ended up taking this course only because I wanted to find out exactly what it was to be a production assistant. And, I'm on the list. So if I decide that at some point that I want to do it.
Can I offer a little bit of an input?
Sure.
Go for the reenactments, because a lot of them film in New Jersey. They won't necessarily have to bust you out from Manhattan. And frankly, they're so much easier as far as productions go.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, this was put on by the New Jersey Film Office. So they're focusing on a lot of what's going on in Newark, in North Jersey, for that matter. I mean, there are productions that are going on down in South Jersey and everything. So it's not just centrally focused on New York City anymore. So,
Right, especially now that Jersey got the rebates that it did. So
Yeah.
now they're trying to build up the work for it.
but reenactments, sure. I mean,
Oh my
any
God,
opportunity.
Those are a peach on every. And, basically, it doesn't matter who you are on that. Everybody has a good time. A lot of it
Nice.
is because they're like, "Holy crap, we're shooting what now?" Cool. So, congratulations, man. So, 16 hours though. That's a little rough.
Well, this particular program was 16 hours. It was 2 8-hour days, Saturday and Sunday.
Mhm.
So,
Basically, how much time do they spend on having infinite patience for whiny background?
well,
That's 2 hours.
nothing. You're more or less just you're paying attention to what's going on the radio, and any sort of issue with background, you just have to kind of diffuse it. Not necessarily be the guy to hold their hand, and it's not your problem, basically.
Or basically be like Rob go to 2, Rob on 2.
Exactly. Yep.
Good on you, man. Good on you. So, let us know how that works out. Basically, I know you've done some PA work in the past.
Yeah.
So if we get you a foot in the door, get you a little more activity, you know what? Go for it. Run
Yeah,
with it. Go
definitely.
with God. So, cool. So, like I
Oh
said,
no,
we got-
another big. What was I going to say? I was going to say something about another big event that is going to have its set of PAs and technical directors. The Oscars is coming up.
yes.
Nice.
Funny thing that Oscars and
Considering the
also-
ratings they've had, they're probably going to get some new people on there too, just to mitigate costs. But
dude, is the Oscars even still relevant anymore?
I don't feel so. I honestly, I saw the announcements today, and I was just I was like, I don't care.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean,
Well,
I don't think
most of these movies I don't even know what they are.
necessarily the issue of the Oscars itself. I think it's just the past couple of years with the way
Yeah.
movies have been churning out and what people have actually been able to see versus what's behind the paywall or on a streaming network that they don't own. It's not as much fanfare for a lot of movies that a lot of people have.
If I could jump in real
seen.
quick, the other thing to say is a lot of the films that are promoted for the Oscars are not really films that a lot of people are really going to see these days. I mean, where are the big films that were recently? The Marvel and Disney films, such as Spider-Man and insert here. But like, look at the Oscars. The Oscars is what was the Benedict movie?
The Way of the Dog.
The Way of the Dog. Now I saw still a few previews for that, but like it's just like little bits of it, like here and there. Suddenly, now it's up for Best Picture, and it's like it's the darling of the Oscars at the moment.
Well, I think with that, you have the issue with it being something that was released, maybe not as heavily in theaters, but it was certainly released on Netflix at the same time. And unfortunately, at the time that it was being released on Netflix, everyone was talking about Squid Game instead. So when you have something like that, things get overshadowed.
So again, it's like, look at this thing. It deserves all these awards, but no one's watching it.
Well, and
so why am I watching it get an award if I wasn't going to watch the product itself?
It's a stepping stone for a lot of these people.
About the show. The show itself, where the hosts more or less just take over the whole show, and then you got like the films that the Academy,
funny thing that Rob, there hasn't been an actual host of the Oscars in 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's more or less just like the show itself. It's like, yeah, whatever, I mean, nothing really to watch. It's like,
well, that's also been part of the question. Before the nominations, they were talking about who you were going to get to host this year because they're actually going to do like a real show. They may not necessarily be much of an audience, but they're actually going to put on a show. And the biggest rumor I heard was that they might get Tom Holland to host the thing.
That would be ironic.
Yeah, he saved the movies as Spider-Man. Now he has to save the Oscars as the host.
Which ironically also, like, a lot of people are complaining about the fact that movie got snubbed all the way through.
Except for visual effects. It did get one nomination.
But it's not like,
Well, though those movies always get visual effects. And to be honest with you, it wasn't the greatest story in the world. There was a lot of member berries in that one. You fix it. Watch it again. Tell me if it was honestly a great film or it was just a lot of happy moments.
A lot of happy moments.
There was a good plot underneath there. It's just, it's like Salt Bae. It's like you put a little bit too much on there. Just the meat's good. Leave the meat be.
It had a plot, but many movies have a plot. Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 had a plot. A lot of Spider-Man movies have a plot.
Spider-Man another day.
Well, yeah, I mean, in this case here, Spider-Man, in this case, visual effects, Spider-Man's going up directly against Shang-Chi. So in this case, probably neither one of them is going to have a shot because the MCU people are going to be split between those two. And I think it's going to hurt. Right now you also have Dune, Free Guy, and No Time to Die in there as well.
And I haven't seen Dune, but even just looking at the trailers of Dune, that thing probably had some amazing special effects in it.
For visual effects, I think Dune's going to take it, yeah.
Well, that's the heavily nominated for this year. I think Dune's got, 10 nominations?
I don't know, actually.
I heard the story for that.
Got nominations for all the big, technical and behind-the-scenes stuff, except for director.
Well, that one's kind of weird to me because A, it is a adaptation, not like an original story, and B, I heard people watching, including fans, were so on it. So for that to be the one leading out here is kind of weird.
Yeah,
right, but I think out of all 10 nominated movies, I think it might be the most popular. If you look at all 10 of them that were nominated, I think of all of them,
they did name value somewhere in there.
No, I think out of all 10 of them, there were 9 of them that are certified fresh. Only one of them is a stinker critically, and that's Don't Look Up.
Well, that's kind of funny. The fact that there's a movie nominated for is it in the Best Picture category?
It is.
Which one?
Yes.
Don't Look Up, which is actually satire. I don't remember the last time a satire film got nominated for Best Picture.
Mm. Yeah,
You know
usually
what?
Best
It
Picture
wasn't
is
a
reserved for musicals and dramas. Usually, Best Picture is usually reserved for musicals and dramas.
Hmm.
You know,
Which I have to say, on the musical tip, I'm a little upset that West Side Story did get nominated, but In the Heights didn't.
well, West Side Story is also Steven Spielberg.
Again, yeah.
As a
then
film,
you're
it's a
playing to the
good film, but
pageantry
it just
instead
it's
of
on.
like bringing in Lin-Manuel Miranda, whose musicals and music have pretty much like helped save that genre.
Listen, we've done enough in the film festival arena. We know how the nominations usually work.
Where did Encanto end up on that list? Because I heard, I have not seen that movie yet, so please do not spoil it for me.
Encanto is nominated for Best Animated Movie. It shares with two other Disney movies. You got Pixar's Luca.
Okay, but Best Animated is a given. Like, what about getting into that Toy Story 3, Beauty and the Beast role of getting up to the Best Picture? Shouldn't have gotten up or was it not as great as people are making it out to be?
It's again, animation is not. It doesn't have the drama. It doesn't have the musical aspect of it.
I would dare to defy that, but again, we're talking Lin-Manuel Miranda again.
Yeah, but when's the last time you saw an animated? When's the last time you saw an animated movie really be nominated for an Oscar for Best
Toy Story 3, a few years ago.
How many in the last 20 years? And Toy Story 3,
20 years.
Toy Story 3 also had two Toy Stories before it, too. So it had a legacy already built into it.
Which actually I think helps it more because usually sequels don't go up for Best Picture unless you're like Godfather.
Typically,
the
Godfather 3, I don't think that went up for Best Picture.
Harry Potter.
Lord of the Rings 3 did. That one still shocks me. But anyway, again, it brings a point. The films that they always put in there are those drama darlings. They're never really mainstream stuff. So I think it's always the Oscars are kind of biased. And the public is not really into the films that get nominated there. I can't think of anything since like the early 2000s that was really popular and was like front and center for the Oscars.
Yeah,
it's the same stuff that usually comes with the SAG Awards every year. So you can get basically the SAG DVDs or the link to the iTunes account, whatever it is, and then all the movies that they can sit there and screen and vote on, which is nice, but all the movies are just dark, dramatic, brooding, and so not in my wheelhouse. So I don't remember what was in the list this year, but it was all this stuff that just really just did not gel with me at all. And a lot of people were like, yeah, I don't really want to watch this, but I'll watch it because it's free.
I mean, there's some good ones in there, though. I have to say, I as someone who's watched at least a handful of the ones that were nominated, Nightmare Alley, I really liked. Nice little pulp noir sort of thing from Guillermo del Toro. It had a nice vibe to it. One of his movies that doesn't have any ghosts, goblins, or creatures, it was very entertaining. The Way of the Dog, as much as people have probably never heard about it, it might be one of the best, if not the best, that you'll ever see Benedict Cumberbatch. I have to say,
it looks interesting, but just from the trailers alone, it seems like he's going to play such a. I think I could say this. He plays such a prick that
it's okay to say it.
He is such a good prick in everything he does. Whether he's a dragon, a detective, a cowboy, he's a good prick. As a doctor, he's a prick. Dr. Prick. That would be a great
Dr. Prick. Dr. Prick, urology.
I mean, I'll go back a few years. The Dark Knight, when that came out, and everyone thought that was such a great movie. That didn't go up for any major Academy Awards. It went up for, I think, special effects, but I don't have it in front of me, but it definitely didn't go up for Best Picture, which I think that year it was probably the best film that came out.
Oh, yeah.
Comic book. Again, it struggles that way, Yeah,
but I think that bias needs to go away.
They want the ratings to go away. Don't forget, this was an organization that one time was
going away.
tinkering with the most popular movie award or fan favorite movie award or something in order to get the more popular movies that aren't critical darlings but certainly brought enough into the box office and give them a showing so that this way you could get more eyes on the show. Obviously they stopped that.
Well, doesn't the film festivals usually have something called like best of show or audience favorite? Like, shouldn't that be like there for the Oscars?
Yeah,
They should, but that's the Academy. The Academy doesn't care what fans want. The Academy votes themselves.
Well, they're going to care when ABC doesn't renew their contract.
ABC will continue to renew the contract, I think, for a while. But again, it's one of those things that people have lost interest in the box office in general, just like they've lost interest in a lot of things. We just talked about that with, in Sports Den earlier. People are losing interest in what used to be mainstream and normal because there's so many different options. Mobile gaming and esports have taken over pretty much all entertainment now, and betting as well. But
well, I remember a few years ago, if a TV show on cable got like a 0.1 or a 1.0 rating, that was death. That like you were going to be canceled after that season. I know shows now with 1.0 ratings, which are in prime time, and they're going to be multiple seasons because no other show is doing better than them. No one's watching regular TV anymore. And
if you ever have any questions, look at some of the CW stuff that they've got. I mean, some of those shows get under 100,000 viewers.
I'm going to probably show how out of the loop I am. Is someone said somewhere the CW was probably going away?
It could be. If the ratings are trash.
I think there was talk about someone buying the CW or CW merging with something else.
CW is owned by CBS right now.
I love the CW merging with something else, considering that CW is a merger of UPN and the WB.
I remember that,
yep. Which, if you really wanted to date yourself, yes, mention those two. That's good.
Yep.
Yes. Hey,
I still remember one of my first jobs was we kept WB in this area aired all the Mets games, so we had to keep crediting them anytime we showed Mets footage, and we kept crediting them as WB even after they became the CW. And I pointed out and they go, no one cares.
Well, not only that, Channel 9 around here was our UPN, and that's right up there in Secaucus.
Yeah.
They had the big building there where everything was
in Secaucus.
Still called UPN.
Secaucus.
But if you remember also, CW or WB back then was actually Michigan J. Frog. They couldn't get the rights to Bugs Bunny, but they got Michigan J. Frog. That doesn't bode well for literally a network called Warner Brothers. That you can't get like the chief mascot. So you got with the guy who's a one-off in one single cartoon.
Yeah, the Animaniacs. That's what they had.
Original Animaniacs. I'm going back and watching that again.
Frog had pipes.
That show is genius. I mean, the Marx Brothers approach that Tom Ruger and Paul Rudd have. Not Paul Rudd, anyway. I loved it. So smart. But anyway, I can spend an hour on that one.
So
Death of TV.
But pointing back to Oscars there, any surprises from what you guys saw of the nominations? Because for me, it pretty much all seemed pretty steady, pretty simple stuff, although there were obvious snubs. I'd say probably the biggest snub that I saw was that Lady Gaga didn't get nominated for House of Gucci. And she was like the best thing about that whole movie.
I guess you're more in the Tinseltown than I am these days because, again, other than
never.
Other than Walk the Dog or whatever that film is called, I don't know any of them. Wag the Dog.
Hey, West Side Story, you know that one, right? You know West Side Story.
This year more so than others, I think there was more of an opportunity for a lot of these films to be seen. Because if you look at all the nominations, how many of them are on HBO Max or on Netflix or maybe even on Hulu or something like in that nature, on Apple Plus or whatever? And how many of them were actually just only in theaters, maybe for the 2 days in order for them to get nominated? I still want to see Licorice Pizza myself. That looks fun, especially as someone who wants to be an actor, or is, depending on your perspective.
I think for theater films, it is focused now more towards the action stuff, and the more dramatic ones are going to get like the streaming releases and stuff. I think I brought this up on one of the programs we do, Married Me, which was a webcomic from 10 years ago. And then out of the blue, I start seeing commercials with Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson starring in it.
Yep.
I think that's going to be like a limited release, and then it'll probably just end up on some streaming service somewhere. It's not going to be something everyone's going to
release for Valentine's Day.
Well,
I said it was going to be in theaters, but I think like a limited release because I'm not really seeing too many that much advertising for it.
What you got to do is you have to have it in theaters for a specific amount of time, specific amount of theaters to be Oscar qualifying. So it doesn't financially make sense to basically house it in so many theaters and pay for all that. So
right,
they'll
but the
do the
Oscar
bare
requirements
minimum.
could be like 2 days in New York and LA, and that's it.
And then basically, boom, drop it over to, I don't know, Amazon or Hulu or Netflix or Disney Plus or Peacock or Apple TV or, Discovery Plus or Weather Channel Plus. We got Weather Channel now, too.
Yeah. You keep bringing it out.
Dude.
Fox Weather.
$5 a month.
Weather Channel now.
For Weather Channel Plus. But
I'm sorry, until they create another Survivor-like show where, like, you're surviving the elements and you're fighting for $100,000. I don't care what's on streaming weather.
Surviving the elements. Try not
to
die.
Instead of Oscars,
on the other end of the spectrum,
around is Oscar time. No, because obviously we've gotten to a point where we understand that Oscars are pretty much more of a frivolous thing, more so than they probably ever were before when we were coming up. But one thing that stayed consistent and maybe has only gotten better, the Razzies.
Yeah.
I never pay attention to Razzies. Razzies, whatever.
This is the 42nd annual Razzie Award.
It's been around for a while.
42 years, man.
Yeah, since the 70s.
But we have a new category this year. We have a brand new category. I think one of you guys want to talk about it. I'll let you guys roll for it.
JT,
this gave me a bit of a tickle. I don't have, do I have it in front of me?
I've got it in front of me here.
Can you say the exact award name?
Sure. It is the worst performance by Bruce Willis in a 2021 movie.
Hey.
We have American Siege, Apex, Cosmic Sin, Deadlock, Fortress, Midnight and the Switchgrass, Out of Death, and Survive the Game. My question is that man is like in his 60s.
How is he in 8 films in 1 year?
Dude, he is the new Eric Roberts.
Apparently so. How the mighty have fallen.
Dude, hey, listen, it's a paycheck, man. But yeah, he is actually nominated.
It's not that Bruce Willis is a bad actor. It's just the man knows what's worth money and what isn't.
By the way, can I point out here? I just want to go into something here. Worst screen combo. Diana the Musical, by the way, I want to mention Diana the Musical ran away with 9 Razzie nominations. But worst screen combo, they were nominated for, and I quote, any klutzy cast member or lamely lyricized or choreographed musical number. That is the actual breakdown category.
Yeah, they get a little loose with the nominations, certainly.
Yeah. LeBron James was nominated for worst screen combo, and any Warner cartoon character or Time Warner project he dribbles on.
To be fair, the movie was also nominated for worst movie and LeBron James for worst actor.
Yes, I did. I'm just looking at worst screen combo, but yeah, that movie got 4 nominations.
I get a tickle out of the one with Bruce Willis, but when you start making every award a custom award, maybe even you're running out of steam.
Well, I mean, they don't do they do one every year where it's it's special for that year. I think there was one year where they did a Lifetime Achievement Award for John Travolta.
Well, wait, from what Scott was saying, it sounded like there were multiple customized awards. Isn't there a customized one there for LeBron James with what idiot is with a cartoon character from Warner Brothers this year or something like that?
Let's see.
It's not that it's a customized award; it's the customized nomination.
Yeah,
right. That's what I'm saying. It's
nominations, awards. What's the difference?
He's got 3 nominations, by the way. Worst actor, worst film, and worst screen combo.
Which I'm looking at some of the things that were nominated. I find it very funny. Infinite, that weird time traveling, Highlander wannabe sort of thing that they had on Paramount when it first premiered. Karen with Taryn Manning, which
dude,
I feel so bad for her.
Wow,
I didn't see it. Was it bad?
I've heard really bad things.
It was cringe. It was complete cringe. Yeah. The Woman in the Window, I felt was very disappointing because I knew that was going to be a theatrical release, and it was Amy Adams, and it looked like it was going to be a nice little twist on Rear Window, and yet, God, it's boring. Oh my God, I feel so bad for her.
Well, Amy Adams is up for best worst supporting actress for Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, and I have to say, these nominations are much more intriguing than the ones for the Oscars, and it shouldn't be like that.
Well, you got some big names in here. I mean, Ben Affleck, Jared Leto up for worst supporting actor. You know,
Mel Gibson for worst supporting. I mean,
yeah, he's also in there too. Nick Cannon too.
yeah,
Really?
Jared Leto for House of Gucci. Oh my God, enough was talked
Yeah.
about that when it came
Yeah.
to like his accent and his look and how stereotypical it was, and yet, yeah, no, it fits.
But yeah, that's going to be March 26th, so they got a little time for that one. But
Yeah,
yes,
I'm going to tell you right now. If there's going to be a broadcast for both of these, I'm wanting to watch the Razzies over the Oscars this year.
Oh, 100%. Especially if anybody big name person shows up like Halle Berry did.
Oh, if Bruce Willis shows up to claim his award,
My God,
To
yes.
show up.
You know he's going to win.
So,
I just wanted to go and
Get an award no matter what.
give me my paycheck so I can go. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
He could be in line with other great celebrities such as Bill Cosby.
I don't actually have it here. I'm trying to find actually where to watch it. So,
anywho,
yeah. So, irrespective of such a thing. So, all right. So, Razzies May 26th, Oscars later this month. Again, I think we're all more or less in agreement that the Razzies are more interesting because it actually has a little bit more fun and a little less snob to it.
Yep. But yeah, TV's dying.
Yeah. Oh, totally. 100%. Movies too.
But streaming, you know, we have all these hit shows like Book of Boba Fett. So
segueing smoothly.
Smooth.
well,
By the way, before we get to that,
before we get to that,
I got to do the shameless plug. This, by the way, is Tales from the Film Set. We're about halfway through. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and also on Twitch at Tales from the Film Set. You may be watching it there right now. And on Twitter at Film Set Tales. You may be watching it there as well. So drop us a message, thoughts, ideas, comments, suggestions, mockery, or complaint. We'll hear it all. Sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
well, no. Before we get into Boba Fett, obviously, just a couple of channel show plugs. Now, obviously, we haven't been doing the Book of Boba Fett watch along like we've been doing with Peacemaker for the last 3 episodes. And we will be doing the watch along for the season finale tomorrow. We will do a little bit of a recap before the show goes on, before we play it. I believe we're going at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
5 p.m. Eastern.
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
5 p.m.
That
Eastern.
actually works best
So
with JT's
if you want to go ahead and watch that along with us and hear us recap the good episodes, we can go ahead and do that. And then, of course, obviously, the following day, we do have Peacemaker at 5 p.m. on Thursday Eastern Standard Time. That will be episode 7, leading to the finale next week.
Which is amazing. We got the
And we actually do also have other things coming along, which if you haven't seen any of the broadcasts that we've done outside of this, we're getting celebrity interviews, and I feel so important now.
Yes. So we had Leroy Patterson from
JT's got that look and is like, ugh.
And
I feel this upcoming interview is going to be a bit traumatic.
all right.
Nice.
Let's just get into that one right now. So, JT, you and I've been down this road with him before.
Yes.
But we mentioned before Lloyd Kaufman, creator of Troma, creator of Toxic Avenger, launcher of many, many careers, including James Gunn, to degree Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Costner, and a lot of people that are mainstream now but unknown then. Trey Parker, Matt Stone came from Troma as well. And so bottom line is we've got him on the show because next week, and I'm glad to say this, I clarified this earlier before the previous show, he is going to be hardcore promoting his new movie called Shakespeare Shitstorm. So it's going to be a movie. It's going to be dramatic, heartfelt, guaranteed to be an Oscar nomination for the 2023.
Nice.
And he'll be front and center for this. I mean, he's been an Oscar nominated. He's been in Oscar winning films before. Lloyd Kaufman has. He was the drunk guy in Rocky 1. But go ahead, JT.
If I could say one thing, last time we interviewed him, he was promoting something also with the word shitstorm in it. I feel like, is his next project after this going to be Shitstorm the musical?
Probably, yeah. Shitstorm.
Well, hopefully he parodies the other shitstorm that actually came out in theaters, Moonfall, and does Shitfall.
You
I
know,
can see
it's
it.
funny. I think I seem to remember him filming this movie like 3 or 4 years ago. So it was a while back. But yeah, we're going to talk to Uncle Lloydie. We will bring up the fact that I almost actually, I came close to killing him once by mistake.
Nice.
Uncle Lloyd does one thing where basically he likes to hold a camera and basically do a Q&A while driving. A very, man on the street, or in this case, person in the car type of thing. So I was busy answering questions and I wasn't paying attention and almost had an accident on the West Side Highway. So you see me sitting there and it's like, okay, well, one of the things, oh shit, so it's all caught on camera. And apparently he was using this for his film students, about how not to drive a car. So, because in this case here, you see me dropping obscenity. My glasses fall off of my face. I jerked the wheel. You see this car swimming around, and he got all of it on camera. And so
That's not how you drive a car.
no, it's not. Well, it may work for New York City. I mean, I have more experience driving in the city now than I did then.
To be used in a future lawsuit.
Oh, hey, listen, no harm, no foul. And listen, he's been really cool about it. But he fully remembers me as that guy because, like I said, he's used that footage, to like teach Troma people, about how to do just amateur footage and how to catch a moment. He caught a moment. Thank you, Larry Rosen. It was your film, Bloody Slumber Party. But so we got Uncle Lloyd coming back, coming in the 24th, and Ryan gets full credit on this one. There was a TV show back in 2005 and 2006 called Stacked, with Pamela Anderson, where she was a librarian, and also starred Christopher Lloyd. Yeah.
No, I'm more shocked that Christopher Lloyd was in that than Pamela Anderson.
Well, Pamela Anderson also had like VIP or something like that.
VIP,
Stripped.
yes.
What's
The
that?
Stripperella, I'm thinking.
Well, that's
Stripperella was the animated version. VIP was the syndicated show that was showing on Fox, but not owned by Fox, where she worked at a private protection agency. And then, yes, Stacked was
and
when
had a
she
video
ended up
game too.
working at a
Had a video
bookstore.
game. Game Grumps did it once.
Not that I'm a fan. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I just follow the woman's
Not
career.
that I'm saying. By the way, she was born on November 14th. At 6 pounds 9 ounces. No, but basically, yeah, he's going to be on there, and we've got a bunch of other stuff in the pipeline too, which we'll get into at some point. But coming back to Boba Fett, which now actually at this point for the final episode may actually in fact star Boba Fett. Ironically enough, the past 2 episodes have been the best ones in the series, and curiously enough, he has either barely been in or not at all been in these episodes.
This thing has become less Book of Boba Fett and more of just a Star Wars encyclopedia.
It feels like Mandalorian 2.5 at this point.
It's like chapter 18 or 19. But my question is, why would they do that? Do you have any thoughts in this case?
Well, I could say something about ratings, but obviously this decision was made before they realized that the other episodes weren't going to do very well. So I have no idea. Is this John's attempt to spite them for making them do Book of Boba Fett? I don't know.
I don't know, but this really feels like a bait and switch. Like, think about it. At the end of Mandalorian Season 2, we got that nice little bumper about Book of Boba Fett coming soon. Mm-hmm. And that was a show that we had no idea was going to be coming because it wasn't part of the slate that we had been given with like Ahsoka and Andor and all these other shows that had been talked about for like years leading up to the announcements that we got in the show premiering this year. I have to think that the Book of Boba Fett was more of just a knee-jerk reaction to, hey, let's see if we can expand into all these other things by using Boba Fett. And I almost think that's a little disingenuous to the fans of Boba Fett that have been around ever since the first showing back in like the late 70s, early 80s. Because now you're pretty much using the character, and rather than telling us tale about him, you're using him just to propagate all your new Disney Plus stuff.
Now, do you think that this was something that they wrote themselves into a corner and had a panic mode, and we're like, we need to pull in some fan service to be able to save the series? Which, by the way, is only
because that would have been. It takes months to shoot all this stuff. It's not like they would have been. It wouldn't have been like, oh yeah, this really sucks. We better make an episode all about Mando. I don't think that would have been a plan they had.
They had the time to go ahead and simply develop a story just about him. They could have done it in the same way that they talked about Din in the first season of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
There were things that you could have done that didn't necessarily require a lot of the cameos that we've gotten.
Mhm.
Now, be that as it may, I will say some of the cameos do make sense. Cad Bane, probably one of the more
Brilliant.
prolific bounty hunters we've gotten since we even learned what bounty hunters were in the Star Wars universe. That makes sense.
And one of the things is they do have a connection with him and Boba Fett, which apparently the dent on Boba Fett's helmet is from Cad Bane. So that will probably, and there's also apparently under his hat is also a wound that Boba Fett gave him.
And I believe they also met during Clone Wars too, when Boba was still a kid. Because
Yeah,
he was being trained by Aura Singh at the time.
I think they didn't explore it enough in Clone Wars, but they were supposed to go into at some point. Cad Bane actually trains Boba Fett when he's still a child, so they might go into that history.
Yeah,
right. But imagine if that reveal of the character had happened back in Episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of learning all about the Mandalorian stuff and Luke and Grogu and Ahsoka.
Well, again,
all
the last two
stuff.
episodes were just Mandalorian. It only furthered the Mandalorian story, not Boba's story. It's like his entire thing took a backseat around Episode 3. So
what's weird about it is they spun off to Mandalorian as a Where Are They Now, and then spun off again to Luke, Grogu, and Ahsoka. So it's like you didn't do just one spin; you went 2 generations deep, away from the primary storyline. And I mean, even now, okay, presuming that Grogu ends up assisting Mando, in this particular case, that ties that story arc together. But
yeah, but why should Boba Fett care about any of this?
Yeah, he doesn't.
It's almost like Favreau was just doing this to say, never put me in charge of something I don't want to do again.
Well, my theory is...
What other reason does he have for this?
Supposedly, Dave Filoni is less involved in this also. So he directed one episode. I think he wrote an episode too. So he, being the personal protege of George Lucas, I now question a little bit how much input was he in with Mandalorian, and how maybe some of that show was a little bit more Filoni and a little less Favreau.
I'm also curious what this is going to mean for future shows like Ahsoka. Is it going to go in the same direction? Are we going to watch Ahsoka and she's going to be a totally different character? And then 4 episodes in, Mando's back.
Oh, no, I'm worried about the cameos that are going to show up in Ahsoka. I mean, obviously, we know that Sabine Wren, she's going to be in Ahsoka.
And Ezra
obviously,
probably
they're going to go ahead and try to maybe find that that one kid who disappeared with Thrawn.
Ezra Bridger.
Yeah. So everything from Star Wars Rebels will probably play in at some point. I'm still waiting for Chewbacca to show up with C-3PO or something on his back. Just more nostalgia to just throw at the wall. It's like
R2 showed up last
come back and he'll be de-aged.
Dude, you know what? I got to tell you, for whatever it's worth, I remember watching episodes. We'll call it Boba Fett episode 6 last week, right around 5:30 in the morning. I wasn't sleeping, and I remember when I saw Luke, I got giddy again. Not as big as I was with the reveal at the end of Mandalorian season 2, but it was nice to see him in a non-violent, environment. There was a moment in there where he's walking with Grogu, and Grogu's falling behind. And if you ever noticed, he was just doing a very soft little force push just to have Grogu take some really big jumps. And it was a very nonchalant, very soft thing, very casual. And that's
very Winnie the Pooh with Piglet.
Very Jedi.
Yeah, but it was like I said, it was a very soft, very very mellow moment. With everything we've seen with Luke, he's never really had a genuine mellow moment until there.
Not a hard jump, but still while sticking in the show, go back to Boba Fett. I heard some if they do another season of this, apparently they want to do a thing where Boba Fett is still looking for revenge on Mace Windu.
Yes, I've heard that.
And isn't Mace Windu dead?
Supposed to be?
Supposedly, but...
I mean, far be it from me to not say that Sam Jackson wouldn't do it, because he still is on the Disney take. He is going to be a part of Secret Invasion. So they have him around.
But it'd be even Samuel Jackson will probably be my character, Mace Windu, would have been hidden away for 20 years and wouldn't have been involved in this whatsoever.
28 years, yeah, you're right.
Well, that also plays into the other, because at this point, Star Wars canon is non-existent. Because let me just break it down. So, depending on whatever Grogu decides, because he's being given the choice, spoilers for anyone that didn't watch it last week.
Oh yeah, BT Dubs. Well,
Yeah, he's given the choice of either take the lightsaber and be a Jedi trainee under me, or take the chainmail of Beskar and go be with Mando, and you will never be a
It says
Jedi.
stealing absolutes.
Yes. Now, let's say for the sake of argument, Grogu decides to stay with Luke.
Mm-hmm.
When did that ever happen? Because we didn't hear about it in the sequel movies. When we heard about Luke and his school and how Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren just pretty much run roughshod over it.
in the sequels, Kylo Ren was, Ben Ben Solo was actually the first student. So
Supposedly, yes.
Now I have two schools of thought here. One, he was the first student, and Grogu does go and help out his foster father,
Which means that there's really no surprise.
Yeah. Or two, and this is the more extreme one. Extreme Star Wars. In season 4 of Star Wars Rebels, Ezra reached in the world between worlds and saved Ahsoka from Darth Vader, pulling her 2 years into the future. The theory is, and this is a Star Wars theory that Twos came out with, is that it created a second timeline. And the sequel is the series where Ahsoka was killed. And then what we're getting with Mandalorian is the one where she survived.
You okay there, Ryan?
So, yeah. By the way, you can still say shit on the show. You can still say shit on the show.
But that's another thing with like all these Jedi that are supposed to be there. So where's Ezra in all this? By the way, did he die at some point?
He's somewhere out in the universe. You know, he teleported himself and Thrawn somewhere into the galaxy, but we don't know where.
Mm.
I guess
So that's where the Ahsoka series is going to be. It's going to be the hunt for Ezra.
That'd be interesting.
Because that's a fan favorite for anyone that's of the new generation, but anyone of the older generation, like the people who would be watching Boba Fett to find out what happened to him, they don't give a damn.
Here's the thing. I'm old enough to remember Boba Fett initially. And actually, Rob, you are too. I don't know how big you were into Star Wars, but I was big into Star Wars. I had the action figures. I had the board game where you needed to use the Force to defeat Jabba the Hutt. I had all of this stuff as a kid. And Boba Fett was so much mystery because you didn't know what he looked like. He barely spoke. There was so much intrigue to that character that bit by bit, we've lost that intrigue over time. And that's just how things work. You know, we found out he's a clone of Jango. All right. But we don't know necessarily entirely what he looks like. Now you see him and how he looks now, you know, and he still has this certain degree of badassery because Tamora Morrison does look good as Boba Fett. He's got a good look to him that way. And then eventually he opens his mouth. And then he continues to open his mouth. And he continues to talk and continues to talk. And the intrigue just continues to drop and the magic disappears. Right. You know, where it would have been better suited for him to be a character who just didn't say anything at all.
The thing is, this is a series about a crime boss, going up to the heights of, villainy. It's basically a guy trying to build himself a family. He's got his, teenagers on his scooter bikes. He's got his, pet down in the basement.
But it's like the other thing is like he was this the intrigue of the bounty hunter. It always kind of felt like he has these brains. He's thinking 10 steps ahead. And now you watch this show where he doesn't even remember he has a rocket back to escape the villains going after him.
Yeah. And that was one of the biggest faults that, people had with Boba Fett was it's like, really? All this intrigue, all this mystery, and all this badassery, okay, maybe you can say the Sarlacc pit thing was a fluke. Maybe it wasn't.
And
it's like Han Solo just going, "Where's Boba Fett?"
Exactly. Boba Fett. And it hits
I know the whole carbonite thing just kind of reeks of like, wow, they got lucky with that. That wasn't like a well thought out plan.
No,
well, that was in case Harrison Ford didn't come back.
But now it always makes me wonder what we're going to see for the future. Like obviously we've talked about Ahsoka, Andor, with what's his name, Diego Luna.
Mm-hmm.
He's already talking that the show's been greenlit for a second season.
It has.
We haven't even seen a trailer. Why? I mean,
Yeah.
before you go ahead and you play up everything else that you're doing Star Wars, because now Star Wars has just become another MCU-like commodity. Maybe get us
That's
interested
Disney
before
for
you
you.
go ahead and spend the money of your ill-gotten gains.
Don't worry. I think Bob seems to be in trouble these days. There may be changes coming to Disney in the very near future.
Well, also it depends on what happens with Obi-Wan.
Not you.
That's a staple character right there.
Chapek.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, if they screw up the Obi-Wan, you know, I mean, when you think about it, Alec Guinness takes a back seat to Ewan McGregor as far as Obi-Wan popularity.
Oh God, I didn't even think about Kenobi. God,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
And with Kenobi, I think isn't Darth Vader supposed to be in this one?
Somehow, some way, yes. You know, and it's Hayden Christensen again, and that was one of the things that Ewan McGregor said, is that the best thing about this is he got to work with Hayden again, because it meant the world to him apparently to reunite with Hayden Christensen after 16 years. 17 years.
Time flies. I was working in Burger King selling the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith cups.
Oh God, you poor bastard!
Not the Vader burger with the black bun, right?
No.
I was working.
That
At,
makes your poop green.
I was working in IT at a college at the time, and I occasionally would just like close early and kick all the students out of the lab early when a movie was coming out. So I did that with Star Wars because I wanted to make sure we had the tickets. We got there on time, so I closed the lab at like 9:00 at night, even though it was open till 11. And I was just like, "Yeah, we got to close early. Bye." And I never told anybody about it, so I'm not sure if my boss ever knew. I got fired a year later, though.
Oh boy.
Nice.
I think I had the same job as you, except my boss purposely would do that to us. Like, it's quitting time. Give me the keys. Time to go.
But
Yeah,
yes,
that's
Speaking
nice
of
bosses.
quitting, thankfully we'll be able to quit
we
on
got
Star
about 3, maybe
Wars.
4 minutes left. I want to basically open this up to you guys if you have any final thoughts. Rob, I'm going to start with you. Anything
Final
else to add?
thoughts on Boba Fett and all these shows that you guys have been paying attention to that I have no idea what's going on. The only thing that I know of Boba Fett was that when he was introduced in, what was it, Empire Strikes Back, I guess, then, you know, I mean, there was that mystery. I do remember that, you know, and then Return of the Jedi, he ends up like getting flown off the what was the
craft.
barge
The
or whatever
barge,
it was.
Barge.
That's the only thing that I know of Boba Fett. So these shows, maybe I should catch up on these shows like what you guys are watching. So
Yeah, episode 1, 2, 3, then Clone Wars, then I would say then Rebels, then 4, 5, 6, but not 7, 8, and 9.
all right,
Yeah.
no
How
problem.
about you? How about you guys? Anything left?
I think last week I said I would not be watching the finale of Boba Fett unless we got 10 subscribers. But in that meantime, I've caught up, and whether we got 'em or not,
We did.
I will be watching now.
Yeah, we did. So you're sorry. You're on the hook. Apologies. So Ryan, closing it out with you, sir.
Well, considering we can get the approval of saying this word today, we do love to shit on Boba Fett.
Yes.
So I'm definitely going to have fun talking more on this. Obviously, if you didn't catch any of it, we'll be talking plenty of it tomorrow. And speaking of love, in the last couple of minutes, I do want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day, as that's going to be coming up before our next Tales from the Film Set. And in the comments while you're watching the show, if you have any comments about anything that we talked about, go ahead, write them down, whether it's Oscars, Razzies, Star Wars, or adjacent. And let us know your favorite romantic comedies. Mine's personally 50 First Dates or Loverboy, depending on what kind of a date it is.
Nice. So
Nice.
yeah, we were supposed
Don't
to
give me
talk
that
about
look,
rom-coms
JT.
tonight. This is the problem. We have too many topics. We didn't even cover rom-coms tonight, or Peacemaker for that matter. But that's okay. So
Well, Peacemaker's
yes.
Thursday. We can do that.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, for this show specific. But anyway, yeah, tune in next week. Like I said, we got Lloyd Kaufman coming on. For myself, Mr. JT McGuire, Mr. Rob Leckington, and Mr. Ryan O'Regan. This is Tales from the Film Set. Find us again one more time on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch at Tales from the Film Set, and also on Twitter at Film Set Tales. By the way, if you're not sure of the name, it's on the shirt. It's on the shirt. By the way,
haven't
JT,
gotten
I
all
have
the
your shirt.
banner
I
yet.
found that. So, but anyway, for us, thanks as always for tuning in. Like I said, 5 p.m. tomorrow on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube is Book of Boba Fett finale, and then the following day on Thursday, Peacemaker episode 7. And regarding peace out. Have a good one.
Bye bye.
Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, you do it the old way. That's fine.